Today I'm talking about Illuminations by Alan Moore, a short story collection from the legendary comics author. There's not really one theme that unites all 9 of these stories, but they do feel like they sit nicely alongside each other. Some of them are in the Neil Gaiman vein, with dark supernatural elements woven into mundane life. Some are pure fantasy, and a few are almost unclassifiable. Unusually for a short story collection, I can honestly say that I enjoyed all of these, but here are my personal highlights. Not Even Legend follows an amateur paranormal investigation group that's considering turning its attention away from ghosts, demons and the like, and towards phenomena that have not been investigated before, things that humans have not even come up with names for. Unfortunately, one of these beings is listening into the discussion and doesn't especially want to be investigated. This is a funny, well-crafted story with a unique structure, and it also introduces some fun new types of supernatural being. The improbably complex high-energy state is one of the most bonkers things I've ever read. It reminds me of the whale scene from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, this one following a disembodied brain that's been spontaneously brought into existence at the dawn of the universe. It first tries to derive what it can about the nature of the reality it's been rudely thrust into, and then starts trying to convince other brains that it created the universe. This makes for a real whirlwind of insane sentences, and a surreal microcosm of the power dynamics in human civilization. Given Moore's thoughts on adaptations of his work, maybe he wrote this just so that there's one story they'll never be able to make a film out of. The title story, Illuminations, is a melancholic and horribly relatable fable about the dangers of trying to recapture the magic of childhood, playing particularly on nostalgia around tacky British seaside attractions. It does something absolutely brilliant with tense, which I've never seen before, but I'll leave you to discover that yourself. And then there's the story that I think will stand out for just about everyone, not least because it takes up about half the page count of the book, making it at least a novella and possibly a full-on novel. That story is What We Can Know About Thunderman, in which Moore continues his long-term project of burning the superhero genre to the ground, and the comics industry with it. Its chapters are almost like short stories within a short story. Spanning a variety of formats and time periods, they all contribute to the shared history of a fictionalized comics industry, which in some cases feels barely fictionalized at all. It's more of a names changed for legal reasons comics industry, if anything. We mostly follow a group of colleagues who entered the industry around the same time as idealistic comic-loving geeks, and through a churning vortex of tangled timelines, we learn how the industry chewed them up and spat them out, sometimes with nightmarish consequences. The scene where some characters visit the apartment of a dead colleague is particularly memorable, and deserves an award for the most extensively obscene vocabulary. In its less grotesque moments, the story feels like a concerned nudge from someone who's been there, to take a look at whatever childhood fantasies you might still be clinging on to and ask, could these be getting in the way of my growing up? It's a hard question to face, and God knows I put it off long enough myself, but here it comes across with an urgency and a compassion that makes it much more persuasive than the counterproductive shaming that pervades our society. Anyway, I really hope this story gets the same attention as Moore's earlier work, because I think it's right up there with Watchmen. I'll also give an honourable mention to American Light, as while it wasn't my favourite story in the collection, it's incredibly ambitious, and I feel like people who haven't had the academic side of their brain rot off since uni might appreciate it more than I did. It's structured kind of similar to Pale Fire by Nabokov, in that it's a poem with annotations from a fictional meta-narrator, and as with Pale Fire, it just makes me wish I was better at appreciating poetry. If you don't already see Alan Moore as one of the most important writers of his generation, then Illuminations might change your mind. I didn't really know what to expect, but it was a treat from start to finish. Endlessly creative, always playing with the format, funny, dark, and wise. I've been nervously eyeing Moore's gargantuan novel Jerusalem for a while now, but God help me, I might just have to pick it up.